Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk about a very fundamental and important concept. I think this one concept is going to change your life because some of you are still riding on the unprocessed emotions and unprocessed trauma from when you were like 5 years old, and now you are in your 20s and you're still thinking about all that and are still being held back because of those things. Today I'm going to explain how to process an emotion. I wish it was taught in schools because it's not. And I had to learn this through personal experience and a lot of research. But let me save you the time, the money, the effort, and I'm just going to tell you exactly how to do it so that you can go out in life as an emotionally intelligent human being instead of traumatizing people who traumatized you. But why process emotions in the first place? Well, because bottling up emotions for years will cause you mental distress. It will cause you friendships and relationships. And as much as mental health is being talked about and taken seriously in the society nowadays, I think it is still seriously underrated how much having a healthy mind affects you on a daily basis in a positive way. Just you need to know how to process your emotions, and it will help you become a better person, a healthy, emotionally intelligent human being who can cultivate positive relationships in life and just feel peace with oneself. Now, this can be done either with therapy, with friends, or with a partner. And if you don't want to talk to your friends or partner, and you don't want to go to therapy, or you can't go to therapy for some reason, you can still do it on your own. So let's get into how to actually do it. Step number one. Step number one is you need to acknowledge and name your emotion. Now you need to do this in the very first place. And let me tell you, it's very hard in the beginning. It's very hard to do because there are so many actions we do all the time to avoid our emotions. There are so many distractions that we employ to avoid doing this. For example, social media, video games, substances, partying, staying in toxic relationships, binge eating, or it can be filling up your schedule. If you can relate to any of these or all of them, then you are probably avoiding some feelings by doing those things. So, how do you stop yourself? Now, at the time when you want to pick a distraction, pause. Just pause and check in with yourself. Am I avoiding an emotion right now? When you say, for example, boot your video game, think, did something just happen that triggered me? And am I doing this to avoid dealing with it? Did I think of something that triggered an emotion, a negative emotion? And am I booting up this video game, or am I opening the Instagram app and scrolling as another distraction instead of going out and dealing with the negative emotion? Or am I just avoiding them by this distraction? Well, you can still do this distraction. Well, you can still play that video game and scroll on the app, but it is important to acknowledge it. You can do it after you have acknowledged it. It's acknowledge that so and
so a thing has happened and that is why I'm doing this, or that's so and so person X has said something to me which has hurt me in this way. Another thing that you can do is just sit in silence for 10 minutes with no audio or visual distractions. Just set a timer for 10 minutes and stare at the wall or close your eyes and sit. Now I know some people do like guided meditations and those are good too. But I think you should still sit for 10 minutes in just silence, because in the guided meditation they tell you what to do and think. And the purpose of this is to hear your own thought. See, just see what comes up, and you don't have to do anything about it. Just observe yourself. Another thing that you can do is to reflect on your day at the end of the day. For example, what's one good thing that happened to me? today, or what's one bad thing that happened today, and just one thing, that's all you need to do. It can also be like, what's one funny thing that happened today, or like one weird thing that happened, or one thing that I'm grateful for that happened to me today, or one thing that really pissed me off. Most oftenly, we go through days and we don't even stop and think what happened. And then we reach a breaking point, and then we are like, I don't know what happened. I just feel broke. I just feel sad. I feel depressed. But it could have been that you have accumulated so many little things that pissed you off, or frustrated you, or angered you, that you never acknowledged or thought about. And now you have reached like your boiling point, and the feelings that you're having now, it's not just out of nowhere. It's not like you don't know what happened. It's just you've bottled it up for so long. The final tip is for step one would be to check in your body, in which part of your body are you feeling the tension. Is it in the stomach, the chest, the back, the head? Like there are particular areas that you can feel, and they are going to make you aware of the emotion that you're feeling, and that will also help you acknowledge the feeling. So once you have recognized which area of your body are you feeling the discomfort in, you can google an emotion chart and check for the negative emotion associated with that area of discomfort in the body. That will help you name and acknowledge it. Step number two is to validate yourself. Or if you're talking to like a therapist or a partner or a friend, you can they can acknowledge and validate your feelings as well. It's important to validate your feelings and figure out what happened, like what triggered that emotion. Did somebody say something or do something that triggered that emotion? Or did somebody say or do something that triggered a memory or traumatic past memory that then triggered a response to it? And do not confuse validating your emotions with justifying your emotions, because you do not need to justify your emotions at all. You are allowed to feel whatever you feel to whatever magnitude you feel. If it's important to you, it is important to you, and you need to validate your feelings. When we were little children, we were often told that you are too sensitive, that we overreact, or that we can't take a joke, or that other people have it worse. We have often been invalidated before. So it is important for us to validate ourselves now and not judge or dismiss your feelings. And beware of people, anybody who dismisses your feelings or says that, oh my gosh, you are too sensitive, or that you're overreacting, or something like that. Beware of those people who hurt you and then dismiss your feelings. They are not your friends. They are not a good friend or a partner or a therapist. And if your therapist tells you that, then run, literally run. Ideally, somebody you are talking to, or if you're doing this by yourself, you will tell yourself things like, I understand why you're feeling this emotion. It makes sense that the person X makes you feel this way. You are allowed to feel your emotion. Your friend, your therapist might also say something like, oh, I'm really sorry that you went through this. Oh, or that I'm sorry this happened to you. They should not make you feel like a mad person, because your feelings are important. And step number three is to figure out what you're going to do moving forward now. Now, once you're done step numbers one and two, do not expect the emotion to just never come up again. It will come up again, because people will knowingly or unknowingly trigger you in the future as well. And when that happens, do not be angry at yourself. When the emotion comes up again, do not be angry at yourself for feeling hurt again, because it's completely normal and fine. But the next time that it comes up, it should feel lighter. Each time that it comes up again and again and again, eventually the same trigger might happen, but it won't trigger you anymore as much as it did in the first time. And that is how you know that you fully process the emotion. If somebody has hurt you, you acknowledge your feelings first and you name it to them. If they apologize, their apology needs to include an intent of not doing that again or doing better next time. And if they don't say how they are going to act differently next time to avoid hurting you, then really take a step back and think about whether you want that person in your life, because someone who really loves you, they're going to want to do everything to protect your feelings. Just think about whether you want them in your life. If you are processing stuff on your own, but if it was caused by another person and you never said anything to them at that time, think now about maybe you want to talk to them, or whether this time or next time. Decide if they do it again, I'm going to bring it up, and then feel empowered in deciding that, because you're taking a step to love yourself and to protect yourself and your feelings. So basically, you should feel proud for doing that. If they won't apologize, then you can either slowly cut contact with them if that is possible for you, or you can decide when they do it again, because they will do it again. You can decide that I will not take it personally next time. I'll know what to do, and their words will not hurt you the same. They'll hurt you less and less and less each time. And by the time which you process your emotion, and then whenever that emotion comes back in the future, you keep doing the same steps and it's going to get easier and easier. And the final step to processing an emotion is to employing a healthy coping mechanism. Now, what is a coping mechanism? Well, a healthy coping mechanism is basically anything that gives your feelings a physical form, but in a safe way for everybody, for yourself and for other people around you. It's something that leaves the mind to wander, but the body is like busy with something else. For example, the one of the best coping mechanisms is exercise. If you're feeling really angry and you have a gym membership where you can go out and punch something, go do that. If you want to go to the treadmill and run for an hour, go do that. If you want to go to the gym and lift some weight and that helps you release your anger, do that. That's absolutely perfect. Then another coping mechanism is journaling. There's writing out things as they come to you. Sometimes when you're feeling something negative, it might feel very hard for you to write it down for some reason. You may feel a lot of resistance to do it. It's almost like you don't want to make the feeling too real, because once you write it down, it's going to become too real or it's going to manifest in a physical form. In that case, you can think about something else for a while before you can journal about it. If you are like feeling the urge to write it out, you can write like an angry letter or something to whoever who has hurt you. You listen to whatever your body is telling you in that moment. The another one of the other forms of coping mechanisms can be like talking to a therapist or a friend or a partner, because talking gives your feelings a physical form. It's like you're turning your emotions into sound that other people are able to perceive. Then another thing is to like doing any kind of craft, doing something with your own hands, whether it's like drawing or painting or cooking. It can be just taking a walk where you are able to walk without any external distractions like a podcast or a music. Sometimes when I need to have music or podcast to be able to think and wonder, I still try to have at least 10 minutes of silence before I switch on to my music or podcast, and just see if I am able to sit for 10 minutes with my own thoughts and I'm able to acknowledge and process them, because that kind of mental clarity will put you 10 steps ahead. instead of going for any distraction. And then there is cleaning. Cleaning is also a perfectly healthy coping mechanism because it's a physical release. You are sweating, you're doing something with your body, but your mind is again free to wander. It's free to think and ponder about your emotions and things that have happened. Another thing that really helps is taking a shower. Shower thoughts have always been a phenomenon that people have been talking about since forever, because while you're showering, you are doing something with your body, but it's like on autopilot mode, and your mind is able to just wander, which is perfect for processing your emotions. You also process your emotions in sleep. So make sure you're also getting enough sleep at night. Sleep is very important for your emotional health. And that is all I have for you in today's episode about how to process emotions. Take care, and I'll see you in my next